Without mincing words, let us be very honest. Nigeria is in dire straits. Nigerians are in a battle for survival. Let me just make it clear to you that one of the most difficult jobs in Nigeria or in the world today is speaking for or trying to defend the APC federal government. It is a very, very difficult thing to do because you know why? There is nothing there to defend. So you remember that the APC campaigned for 16 years of PDP misrule. In fact, this president was part of a protest called Occupy Nigeria when the then President Jonathan was trying to remove fuel subsidy, which he eventually have removed today, and yet the devil is in the detail in terms of implementation of sanitizing the oil sector and NNPC. So, and then by 2027, President Tinubu's administration will be 12 years, or APC will be 12 years put together. Imagine living in a government of renewed hope and experiencing the kind of unfortunate hopelessness that Nigeria is experiencing. So it is difficult for you to explain what the federal government, the APC-led government is doing, but I can give you some. A government that knows that more than 100 million persons were living in multi-dimensional poverty by the end of Buhari's administration came into power, and the first priorities were deciding to renovate a vice presidential home for 20-something billion, purchase of new private presidential jets, a presidential yacht, renovating the villa, money for purchase of SUVs for the office of the First Lady, which is not even a legally recognized, constitutionally recognized office. So when you see the frivolities and wastages in government, and then that same government in turn begins to ask the people to make sacrifices. So it is we who will think of what to do for our country, while the leaders continue to live in luxury and affluence using taxpayer money. Look at the National Assembly. Immediately they came, they shared monies for themselves and purchased bulletproof SUVs, one for more than 160 million. Yet the minimum wage of that country is 70,000 naira. And that is a country where leaders are still demanding sacrifice from the people. So at what point does this sacrifice end? At what point does President Tinubu, his cabinet, the senators and his government begin to make sacrifices? The president is a former governor. He's on life pension from Lagos State. The vice president is a former governor. The senate president is a former governor. So with all the resources that are shared, 60% of Nigeria's corruption is administrative. Inflation of government contracts, budget padding. Who is sanitizing and fighting that corruption? But you cannot say anything because the government does not even feel beholden to the people. And that is why no matter how much Nigerians continue to cry, it falls on deaf ear. Why? Because they know that the electoral system can still be manipulated to rig people back into power, using also the Nigerian judiciary. So if I have the ears of any Nigerian politician right now, I will want them to know that power is transient. You cannot be in power forever. If you don't leave power, power will leave you. Nigerians are not demanding for too much. We only need a country to live. As a Nigerian youth, demanding for a better country, I'm not a criminal. There are known criminals that are not being attended to. But once you voice out against the government, they come after you. So Nigerians must decide whether we want to live as slaves in this country or we want to live as freeborns. And that is why I'm telling you that this 30-day challenge must not end with just the 30-day rant. There must be maximum civil pressure on the authorities. Number one, we must reform our electoral process. That is the backbone of corrupt politicians. They know that they can meander their way into the public office without consequences and accountability. So if I'm talking to Nigerian politicians, I'm telling them, your time is up. You either do the right thing for this country, or a generation of young Nigerian leaders will wake up and will succeed where you people have failed woefully and continue to fail us. Because Nigerians are hungry, Nigerians are dying, the tension is palpable and the frustration, and the leaders are completely detached from the reality. It is unfortunate, but we as Nigerians must find the wisdom and the courage to fix these institutions, or else we continue to remain victims of these institutions. Few days ago, the presidential spokesperson, aide, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, put out a statement that the president is on his way to France for a 2-week working visit. And while in France, what the president is trying to do is to get an appraisal of his government and to retreat and reflect on his own reforms. Meaning, after spending money in 2024-2025 budget to renovate the presidential villa, the vice president's home, the president's house in Dodan Barracks in Lagos and the vice president's home in Dodan Barracks, buying private jets, and in a country of 774 local governments, the commander-in-chief does not have a proper location in Nigeria to reflect, but the president jets out to reflect about his policies from a foreign country. The president wants to reflect about his policies and has yet to make a statement on the 30-day rant challenge of Nigerian youths calling for help, where the cost of living is killing the living. Tomorrow it is Uromi killing. Next tomorrow it is Benue, it is Ondo, it is Plateau. What exactly is going on in Nigeria is an outright lack of accountability. What exactly is there as an incentive to be Nigerian today? The institutions are almost stacked against you. Law enforcement is almost against you. The judicial system is not where you can go. The market is not what you can even afford. There is just sheer hopelessness across board. And that is what you are seeing us do in these 30 days. And if anybody as a leader is listening, then they should be taking practical steps to resolving these issues, most importantly guaranteeing a free, fair and peaceful process in 2027, and that is what we must ensure.
What's your thought about what has been happening, looking at it as a Nigerian? What's your thought about what's been happening in Rivers State?
Let me say prestissimo, that is as quickly as possible, that the political krinkum, or if you like, the political higi-haga that has enveloped the politics of Rivers State for a period of time now has all the trappings of an odoriferous saga. Kum gagatwan gaga. And I am maniacally bewildered that this flashpoint is of no serious concern to the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is because all the flashpoints of war that has snowballed and transmogrified into bringing about a calamitous end for Nigeria always had their terminus arco, their source of origin, that is, either in one state or in one region. For me, as far as I am concerned, I can see the ship of the Nigerian state hovering around the political Bermuda Triangle. And if we do not take very urgent and responsible steps to meander the interstices of a sewable cataract, landmines, waterfronts, icebergs, and oxbolex, the ship of the Nigerian state just now has all the capacities and possibilities of birthing in a disastrous and pestilential aqua of a terminus aquam. Let me say that my critical history and historiography of the study of the war of attrition and belligerency in Rivers State did not commence with the Obi-Okbo political tendency. It's very crystal clear, like the biblical teke mene you fasting. It's audible to the deaf and visible to the blind. Whereas some social scientists like myself have gone to town for donkey years now saying that what we have is not a democracy, but what we have is civilian rule. But by recent events, I'm even tempted to say, no. Nigeria is neither witnessing civilian rule, nor is Nigeria witnessing even democracy. What we have at best is a form of government I call kakisto-mobo plutocracy. And that is bad for the nation. Is it within the Obi-Okbo contest? Is it within the NGF election contest? Where 16 persons are more than 19 persons. If within the microscopic ceramics and cadence of 36 governors who are supposed to be suzerains of democratic ethics and ethos in their respective terra firmas, you cannot adjudge democratic scores